Good morning, folks, and welcome to Power to Negotiate. Today's session is about something sort of interesting called how to do a lease option without using any of your own money. And a lot of people are going to say, well, if I'm going to be buying properties, I have to have my own money, don't I? Not really. Here's how you do it. First of all, let me explain exactly what a lease option is. A lease is where you're renting the property with the option to purchase it at a later date for an agreed upon price. That's all a lease option is. You're renting it and you have the right to purchase it at a later time. Now with all options, you had to pay an option fee. Unless, of course, you negotiate so that you don't. So what we're going to do when we're leasing from a seller is we're going to get the property without paying any option fees. Now why would we do that? Because we don't want to pay those. However, we're going to negotiate for something else. What are we doing? We're solving the seller's problem. And unless you ask, you'll never get this. So you always have to ask. But I always ask for the seller to pay for the first 3 months of payments. And here's why. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a tenant buyer into the property. And I might have to go through 10, 20, 30 tenant buyers, prospective tenant buyers, and qualify them and find the right one that will really like this house, and we're going to qualify them so that they're able to purchase this property somewhere down the road. Now that's a lot different than what your typical realtor is going to do and what another investor is going to do with a renter. In order to make this happen, I'm going to need a little bit of time. And so since you're always making mortgage payments in arrears, so if today's January 1st and I'm making the payment today, that was actually for December, right? So you're going to be paying next month's mortgage payment because you've already gone ahead and used that, correct? I just need 2 months of payment. So if today is January 1st and you're paying the next month in arrears, so I want 2 months on top of that, so February 1st, March 1st, April 1st is when I'll start making payments. Why don't we go ahead and do that? Now, why do I ask for 3 months of payments? Because if I have to come up with that money before I have money coming in, that's cash out of pocket. And that's something I don't want to do. Now, when I'm looking at one of these properties, what does it have to have? It has to be in move-in shape. I will take properties that need to be vacuumed, maybe have the front lawn mowed. If they need anything more than that, it's not really perfect as a lease option property. If I had to put any money into it, it doesn't meet my needs. So I'm looking for properties that are ready to go. And you say, but Reed, I love to do rehab properties. Great. Not with this type of property. I love to do rehab properties. But guess what? It takes dollars. It takes time. Lease options, you're moving in, it doesn't need any work. Okay? When I find a tenant buyer, what I want to do is I want to have the tenant buyer give me at least 3 to 5% of the purchase price for a non-refundable option fee, which shall be converted to a down payment if they execute the option to purchase. Now, let's use $100,000 for a nice round number. That's $3,000 to $5,000 they're going to have to put up front for a non-refundable option fee, which shall be converted to a down payment. And you can say, Reed, what is that non-refundable option fee again? You've mentioned this before. If I call it a deposit or if I call it a down payment and they don't execute the option, who gets the money? They do. If I call it a non-refundable option fee and they don't execute, who keeps the money? I do. So does it make sense to do this? Now, why would somebody put up that amount of money? The reason that they would do that is because this will be converted 100% to a down payment if they execute the option. Now, I will go one step further than that. If they want to have a forced savings plan, I will give them a 2-for-1 credit. So let's say, just for fun's sake, let's say the monthly rent is $1,000 a month. And I'm going to ask them to give me another $100 a month on top of that. That is my non-refundable option fee that I'm going to give them a 2-for-1 credit on. $100 will be credited towards the non-refundable option fee, which will be converted to a down payment, and $100 will be knocked off the price. Does that make sense? And so if they give me $100, I give them $200 credit. $100 goes towards the down payment if they execute, and $100 gets knocked off the purchase price. The other thing I do is I don't sell the property for what it's worth right now if I have this on a 2-year lease option. I'm going to typically say that historically we've had a 5 to 6% appreciation rate. I'm going to use 5%, and so if at the end of 1 year it'll be $105,000, at the end of 2 years it'll be let's call it $110,000 just to make nice round numbers. Meanwhile, I have gotten the property for the declining mortgage balance, and let's say that's $80,000. So what's the difference between $80,000 and $110,000? $30,000. Do I have enough spread there to give them a little bit of money off the purchase price if they give me another $100 a month in cash flow? You betcha. Cash flow is king. So if they will give me more cash per month, I'll be glad to go ahead and give them a 2-for-1 discount. Now, let's talk about the tenant buyers. What's the difference between a tenant buyer and a renter? A tenant buyer is going to move into the house and they're going to live there forever, or at least until they sell it. And this is their opportunity to get the house of their dreams. Now, I'm not looking for somebody that can qualify right now to get a house, because if they can do that, they're not going to pay a premium to move into the house. This is for somebody that can't quite qualify. And if you say that 60% of the people that are out there can't qualify to purchase a house, of that 60%, I'm looking at the top 10%, the people that are this close to being able to qualify. And I always want to have a mortgage broker qualify them for credit and for credit worthiness to make sure they can go ahead and get a loan in 2 years from now. Can they get it right now? No, but are they darn close? And then what I'll do is I will tell them, here's what we're going to do. Here's your program, and I'll lay it out for them. You need to start paying this off, pay this off, pay this off, get your credit cleaned up, and we're going to have a forced savings plan so that you're putting this money aside each month, just a little bit. And what that will do is that will give you a large enough down payment when you execute that you'll be able to move into this property and get a conventional loan. Now, why do I do that? Because most people can't qualify unless you nudge them a little bit. And if they want to go $200, would I gladly give them a 2-for-1? Absolutely. $400, would I gladly give them a 2-for-1? Absolutely. $500, would I gladly give them a 2-for-1? Absolutely. Why? Because it's not money that comes out of my pocket until the end.